Hey, what's up everyone? This is Isaiah, and today we're going to be talking about resistance/assistance bands and whether or not we should buy them, whether or not we should use them in our training. Now, what I'm talking about here are these guys. They're a versatile, durable, usually pretty cheap tool that you can find in a lot of gyms or that you might be thinking about adding to your home gym. And they come in different thicknesses for different resistance. What's cool about these tools, these resistance bands, is that they can be scaled up or down to any level of fitness. So whether you're just starting out or you're an advanced lifter looking to get an extra edge on your lifting or on your training, this might be the way to go. So let's talk about what are some of the advantages and disadvantages that these resistance bands offer. So the first thing we'll talk about is cost. So a set of these bands will usually include maybe 3, maybe 4 different resistances, and they'll probably run you $20 to $40 for a set. And so if you think of that in comparison with maybe trying to buy dumbbells or free weights, things like that, you're spending $20, maybe $40 at the high end to get a bunch of different levels of resistance that'll scale up with you as you get more advanced in your training. Whereas if you buy a 20-pound dumbbell, it's always going to stay a 20-pound dumbbell and probably cost maybe $1, $1.50 per pound. So you're looking at $20 to $30, same amount of investment for a static weight as opposed to a dynamic weight. Something else to appreciate about these resistance bands is that they are very versatile. So when you're talking about the bang for your buck, how much your money is going or how far your money is going in terms of effectiveness in your training, these guys could offer a distinct advantage because as opposed to buying a piece of specialized equipment, maybe like a preacher curl bench to train biceps or something like that that's very specific and generally can only be used one way, you're getting a tool that's probably cheaper and can also customize for different workouts, working upper body, lower body, core, things like that. So let's talk about some of the unique advantages of using a resistance band. Now, the resistance band, as you can see, is like a big rubber band. So what happens is that as it stretches, the tension gets tighter the farther it gets stretched. So that means that when you're in the concentric portion of your lift, the upward raising part, so like if you're using this for a bodyweight squat, right, and then you're extending the band, it gets tighter as it goes. So that means that you're actually having to work harder as you pull the band farther and as you're getting upwards in your lift. The contrast is with free weights or with barbells is that you actually have momentum in the concentric part of your lift. So the hardest part is actually at the point of reversal when you're going down and then you start to come up. That's the hardest part in a normal free weight lift. And then you have momentum pushing you up. So you actually have to work less hard towards the top of your lift. Resistance bands take that momentum away because you're having to fight against the tension of the stretching band at the top of your lift. Another unique advantage that resistance bands offer, and this would be the assistance portion of their function, is that these bands can offer what's called overspeed training. And this is mostly with like agility, speed work, and plyometric work. But basically, assistance bands can provide a stimulus for your nervous system to train at higher speeds than your body can naturally generate. So a simple example might be the feel of doing training by running downhill. And so maybe you wouldn't normally be able to generate that much speed, but now your nervous system has to compensate and train at a higher speed, have to fire quicker because that hill is providing you an advantage of moving you at a faster speed than your body would be able to generate naturally. And same thing with plyometrics. If you have the band secured to like a hook or a bar above you, and then you have that hooked under your arms or around your waist, or just holding onto the band is almost like a slingshot so that you can jump, and the release of tension, the energy in the band is giving you a boost to jump higher, and that trains your nervous system to be able to fire quicker, to be able to expect to jump higher and train at a higher jump height and velocity than you would naturally be able to generate. So another way for advanced lifters that this can unlock some athletic potential and strength is that if you add the resistance band to certain barbell lifts and things like that, or hex bar lifts, you can actually enhance the lift by providing an extra stimulus to your stabilizer muscles. So as the resistance band is pulling on the bar and you're fighting against that tension, you're forced to stabilize with your core, and that'll add an extra training stimulus as you progress through different lifts like a squat or a deadlift or things like that. So let's talk about some of the disadvantages to using resistance bands. So one disadvantage that comes up right away is that there is a limit to how much resistance you can get out of these things. Like we talked about before, they're like rubber bands, and so there's a point at which they snap or that they just can't generate any more tension. Whereas like if you're in a gym, you can always get a heavier plate or add more weights on top of it. Resistance bands can only generate so much resistance before they're maxed out, and that threshold is relatively low when you're talking about advanced lifters. So that being said, resistance bands may not be the most useful for someone who's looking to train pure strength. This would be more of a strength speed or a speed strength or pure speed tool. And another disadvantage is that resistance bands really unlock their full potential when they're used in conjunction with an existing setup. So a lot of the exercises I've talked about, either hooking the bands onto a hex bar for deadlifts or a barbell for squatting or doing plyometric work, things like that, require you have an existing power rack or extra weights that the band enhances the workout instead of being the tool that you're working out with itself. And so basically, if you're going to be taking advantage of the unique benefits that resistance bands offer, you're probably going to need an existing gym setup at your home or at your gym, wherever you're working out. So final notes here. Who should be getting resistance bands? I think, like I said at the top, they're versatile. You can slot them in to any workout that you want to. For beginners, they offer great work with the stability training. If you're just using the resistance bands for squats or rows, assisted pull-ups, things like that, you could hit every muscle group in your body using just these resistance bands. And that's great. That's a great entry price point for somebody looking to start doing resistance training. And on the other end of the spectrum, advanced athletes and lifters could also take advantage of the resistance band's unique benefits. I think, again, it would be more useful, and again, the potential is really unlocked when you have an existing setup in your home. If you have a hook like a TRX anchor point or a power rack, just something solid that you can be putting the resistance band up to, hooking it up, or just wrapping it around, that's really where a lot of the advantages, like the increased resistance towards the top of the concentric portion of your lift, as well as the overspeed training, really become possibilities and start kicking in to your training. I think where most people would get the least benefit out of these resistance and assistance bands is kind of those people in the middle who are lifting pretty regularly and who don't have an extensive setup and are not necessarily looking for a lot of the athletic and speed advantages that come from using resistance band work. Those people, if you have $40, then it might be worth it to try it out and see how it fits into your existing workouts. But I think for those who are intermediate lifters who maybe aren't as stable in their form with some of the advanced full body lifts, I'd advocate for you to get really comfortable with mastering your body weight, mastering the weight that you're using already before adding the element of instability and overspeed that might be possible through resistance band training. Hey guys, thanks for joining me for this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of resistance bands, what you've used them for in your athletic journey, and I'll catch you in the next video.